Alright, this isn't a video on free will, it's a video on determinism, so I'm not violating my no more free will videos rule, sort of. Well, anyway, it's a response to As or Not and two videos by Matt. I mean, just keep going. It's kind of depressing because this is like basic stuff. I don't understand this reluctance to concede that what we see in every other part of the universe, this mechanical machine, the universe, doesn't apply inside this little jelly blob inside our heads. Somehow it is special. It's special. It doesn't have to obey the rules that all the rest of the world obeys. And you know, the whole idea, you know, Matt's now arguing that, you know, there's some debate whether causality starts in the environment or whether it starts in our brains. And it doesn't. It starts with the Big Bang. That's where it fucking starts. Excuse my French. There's a beginning and then there's an end. And it's very true in our lives. It's a progression. We move through it. The neurons are changed as we proceed through the life, as the exposure and the interaction of the thoughts, the ideas, the memories, they interact with each other, the ideas, and they recompose each other, and they restructure each other, and they remold each other, but in a very predictable, mechanical way. There's no magic dust in our heads. There's no all quantum randomness is made irrelevant, just as is it irrelevant in the function of this computer that is taking these millions of bits of information, doing all this work, putting this video on my account, not on somebody else's account. It's, you know, it's a process, and it's going through millions of permutations, millions of computations. And it does it reliably. It doesn't come out with the wrong answer. The pixels are in the right place. It's done correctly and predictably. And that's what we are. We are predictable. Not easily, but it's all predictable. I can't predict how this video software works, how all this stuff goes across and the bits flying all over the place, and, you know, yeah, I can't see it, I can't understand all the process, but we know that it's going to work. We know what the outcome's going to be. And it's just, this is not a reasonable argument anymore. To my opinion, it's just gotten unreasonable, because determinism isn't a bad word. And yes, the illusion is going to be powerful. The illusion that we are not deterministic, that we do have, that we are actively participating, is an illusion. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a trick the mind plays. But there is not a deceptive trick. It is not a, we're not being fooled, just as we're not being fooled by the fact that our brains distinguish colors. It's a representation of the reality. It is not the exact reality. We are not absorbing the material item into our consciousness. We are absorbing an understanding of the item. That's what our brain does. And our senses have been matched to our brain. They are not mismatched. They've had millions, billions of years to be completely integrated, to be precisely integrated, so that we can function quite reliably in our environment. We are quite comfortable and dependent on our senses, and they work quite reliably. They don't give us wrong information. If anything, they supply us with extra information. They make up stuff to compensate for what we can't even sense, but we can't see directly. So I mean, this is, you know, we are a finely tuned machine, but that's what we are. We are a machine. There is no I, there is no me, there is brain. The brain is us, and there's nothing outside of the brain. That's it. There's no other me, there's no other force, there's no other anything. There's just this thing, this extra that's called the consciousness, but it's like the magnetism in a magnet. It is not, it has very little to do with the magnet itself. It is something that extends out from it, but it doesn't change the magnet. The fact that the magnet is magnetic, it does not change the fact that the atoms are atoms and the molecules are molecules and they obey the laws of physics. And the same is true of our consciousness. The fact that we have this thing called awareness, that the process takes place in this, it creates these things called feelings, and those feelings are interacted with the intellect and with the brain, and that it all is responsive and connected. It still isn't a changing force. It isn't a force of inspiration. The brain is the inspiration. The brain does all the work, all the processing. The creation of the consciousness is the product of the brain's function. It is not deciding the function of the brain. It is the reflection. It is, well, what's a better metaphor? The shadow, the effect, but it is not the cause. So I don't know, it just seems like we're beating a dead horse. Let's just stay with the science a little bit. I'm going to persist with my computer model because I think it really friggin' works. I mean, we can all are capable of imagining software that can rewrite itself. So the programming is created, and then it is capable of changing itself, altering its own composition. And that's what our brains do. And the fact that computers, like us, they work on a level of the material universe that is reliable and dependable. That's why computers work. Computers don't have any, there's no evidence of any randomness or free will in the function of a computer. And it is, you know, theoretically we could tie a few million computers together and create something that would be certainly equally complex to a human brain, and it would still be a computer. It would not be anything more. There would not be any, the randomness would still not be destroying the functionality or influencing the functionality. So it's just bullshit. And like I said, I don't even understand what the argument is about. I mean, to deny, I don't know what the meaning of this free will would be. To have it, if we had it, what does it mean? What does the fucking word mean? It doesn't mean anything. Undeterministic world. I mean, how does that make any sense? It just pops into our head from what source? From where does this inspiration or this creativity that didn't have any structure, that's built inside of us already, that doesn't have any programming software, but it just produces results. They just fly out. So my computer doesn't need software. The results just fly out of the screen all by themselves. From where? From what fucking source? It sounds like religion to me. That's what it sounds like. So anyway, no point. I don't want to go beating this dead horse. But there's a couple more minutes, and so if I guess I want to make a video, I might as well use up all the minutes. Yeah, I just don't, I'm just frustrated with the argument, because yeah, Matt, we've been over and over this shit. You know, the brain doesn't sit there and consume reality. It builds a model of reality. And that's all it is. It's a representation. It is an under-fucking-standing. You don't understand that fucking, I'm sorry, I don't want to be patronizing. We understand the world. We don't eat it. We don't consume it. We don't absorb it. We don't own it. We just attempt to understand it. And we can understand it. We can understand ourselves, and we can understand the world we live in. We can understand what is right and wrong. We can figure out all this shit. That's what we have this fucking brain for. We don't have it to sit around saying, well, let me figure out what the funnest delusion is I can make for myself, and I'll live that. Yes, there's no law, you know, Matt, that says you can be as crazy as you want to fucking be. There is absolutely no fucking law against it. You can you know, snort mushrooms, you can shove them in your ears, you can shove them up your ass. You can take whatever you want, you can delude yourself with whatever fantasy, you can enjoy whatever kind of vacation from reality you wish to enjoy, but don't call it philosophy, and don't call it I don't even call it productive human experience. Okay, because if all we intend is to make people happy, yes, well then let's just get to put the brain in the damn beaker, fill the beaker full of morphine, throw in some electricity, give it some interesting dreams, and that's how we'll call that human experience. All right, but it's just bullshit. I mean, we're not to that step yet. We're still in the step of trying to figure out who the fuck we are and what we're doing here, and talking about worrying about or obsessing about the experience or the journey and the quality of the journey. No, we are attempting to reach a destination. The destination is an accurate understanding of reality. The destination is not let's get as drunk as we fucking can. You know, that's not the destination. And so your obsession with the journey, like I said, that's your choice, but it doesn't belong in the philosophical environment. It doesn't belong in the scientific environment. It is something entirely different. The end.